Hello there. I've been digging through old newspapers, magazines and online reviews to see what people thought about sitcoms from way back in the early days of TV to today. I've noticed some interesting trends, and in this series of videos I'm going to explore the 15 sitcoms that critics and viewers seem to agree were the worst, based on different lists of the most poorly rated shows. In this video we'll look at numbers 9 to 7.
Number 9.
Are You Being Served was at the height of its popularity, so the BBC wanted to give one of the stars her own show. Enter housewife Gertrude Noah, played by Molly Sugden, who, in the year 2050, has won a cookery competition. Inexplicably, the prize is a tour of Britannia 7, the UK's new space exploration vehicle. Written by Jeremy Lloyd and David Croft, who'd also written Are You Being Served, in the pilot episode the craft is accidentally sent off into space with Mrs. Noah and, fortunately, a small crew on board. The pilot aired on the 13th of December 1977, followed by a series of 5 episodes in mid-1978. The series shows the misjudged and failed efforts to bring Mrs. Noah back to Earth. The series concluded with Mrs. Noah and crew careering off uncontrollably into the depths of space. How did this get past BBC executives? Were they all too tired to object after a big lunch in the BBC staff restaurant? No, David Croft says, we rushed it along without any opposition at all, based on the premise that because space was suddenly all the rage following the recent release of Star Wars, that everyone would soon be trying to do something similar. They wanted to be first. The BBC's head of comedy, Jimmy Gilbert, gave the go-ahead without even seeing a script. The haste at which things progressed on a small budget meant that the sets looked like cardboard, and there was some unconvincing trick photography. After the pilot, the script floundered like a lost spaceship. While the scientific experts tried to figure out how to get home, Croft and Lloyd must have realised that every attempt had to fail. Otherwise, they would cut their own sitcom short if they got Mrs. Noah back to Earth. It didn't help that they surrounded Molly with some of Croft and Lloyd's favourite star names, including Ian Lavender as a reporter called Cunliffe, Donald Hewlett and Michael Knowles as a pair of physicists called Carstairs and Fanshawe, and Gordon Kay back on Earth reading news bulletins. Soon they were running out of ideas as to how to keep a sense of momentum, and by the end, desperation showed in the script and the performances. Come Back Mrs. Noah was not a success. Critics slammed it as a waste of time, with one dismissing it as a humorless assembly of actors from various other television series struggling with a script which contained only one decent joke in half an hour. Everything is spelt out, no joke is left unrepeated, and the co-writer and producer David Croft really ought to have known better than to try and pass off this rubbish. More recently, John J. Hoare wrote on his website Dirty Feed that I honestly don't think it's quite as bad as its reputation, although doing a racist joke about Notting Hill 6 minutes into the episode does push your goodwill rather. The Telegraph put Mrs. Noah at number 2 in its list of the 10 worst British sitcoms ever made. They were not impressed with the exotically wigged, pussy-loving Mrs. Slocum in this bizarre series. In Mark Lewison's 2003 edition of the Radio Times Guide to Television comedy, Mrs. Noah was at number 13 in his list of the 20 worst British sitcoms. Although he did comment that there were some funny lines, especially in the Earth news bulletins read by Gordon Kay. One viewer commented, "It's crass, bawdy, with toilet humour, exclusive of the 70s. If it's not your bag, you will utterly loathe every second of it. If you enjoy it, then there are laughs, gags and double entendres aplenty for you." Come Back Mrs. Noah was also shown in the Netherlands starting in June 1979. It was also aired in Australia and on several public television stations in the United States, including Miami, Florida and Buffalo, New York. Nothing could save the spaceship or the show. It never returned after one series of just 6 episodes. There was no official DVD release, but that didn't stop a hopeful Andrew Mark Thompson from designing a mock-up of DVD cover art.
Number 8.
Shane is a sitcom written by and starring Frank Skinner, someone not really known for sitcoms. Shane is a wisecracking minicab driver who lurches from one midlife crisis to the next. There is a wife and 2 children to complete the stereotypical sitcom dynamic. Shane's best friend and boss is Bazza, with whom he spends far too much time down the pub with. There might have been a clue in the opening theme performed by Skinner, in which he sings "There must be something better than this." Apparently he was correct. Further evidence was provided by the ITV press office, providing a quote in advance of the show being screened that said Skinner's character is swiftly becoming a disappointment to his wife and an embarrassment to his teenage kids and a liability to his employers. He was about to become a disappointment to his audience and a liability to ITV. It was shown at 10 p.m, no doubt being a disappointment to viewers wondering where News at 10 had gone. After being shown weekly, the final 3 episodes were shown on consecutive nights, as if they were trying to get them out of the way. It has to be admitted, sometimes it did feel like Frank's stand-up act crammed into a sitcom. Several viewers said the script was sexist, sex-obsessed, with misogyny and homophobia. Jason Deans in The Guardian reported that the first episode, broadcast on 20th of April 2004, made a promising start last night, winning its 10 p.m. slot and attracting more than 5 million viewers. But at the weekend, in a review in The Observer, Catherine Flett was not happy, saying Frank Skinner's new sitcom gives him a chance to say things about women which he wouldn't dare to utter on his chat show. She suggested perhaps a referendum could be conducted at the commissioning stage. A popular comedian would have to pitch online and then we could all decide whether or not it shall get made. It's being cruel to be kind, really, a bit like drowning the runt of the litter. Her review could be condensed into one word: no. Digital Spy put Shane at number 8 in their list of 11 of the worst sitcoms of all time, claiming that in a 2014 interview Frank himself admitted that he wasn't a fan of the show, in hindsight saying, "I've done sitcoms that I've written, but I never got that right." The second series was completed, ready to be shown on ITV in 2005. It's not possible to confirm, but the consensus is that the second series was not broadcast due to contract differences between Frank Skinner and ITV. Some sources claim that Paramount Comedy 2 acquired the Series 1 with the intention to show it in 2005, but I cannot confirm it was broadcast. There were apparently plans for an American version, but nothing seems to have happened there either. There was no official DVD release.
Number 7.
London Weekend Television made the sitcom Romany Jones, starring James Beck, as the titular Bert Jones, with Arthur Mullard and Queenie Watts as Wally and Lil Briggs, that was broadcast from 1972 to 1975. After Beck suddenly died, aged 44, his character was replaced. LWT then decided to give Arthur Mullard and Queenie Watts' characters a spin-off series called Yus My Dear, and they moved from the caravan site to a council house. Wally has even got a well-paid job at a building site and life is looking good for them. It was screened by ITV during 1976 and marked an early regular appearance of the comedian Mike Reid as Benny, Wally's younger brother. He sponges off Wally while looking for a permanent place to stay. As with most of Chesney and Wolfe's scripts of the late 1960s and 70s, the humour is crude and vulgar, but well suited to Mike Reid's on-screen persona. In one episode, Benny catches Lil hiding the housekeeping money in her bra. Lil tells Benny that she's putting the money where no one will be able to get hold of it. "Don't put it down there, Lil. Half the town will get their hands on it," Benny tells her. Yus My Dear has a reputation as one of the worst British situation comedies. It certainly wasn't one of the best. Although the series is undoubtedly crude and often goes for cheap laughs, there are numerous sitcoms that are far worse, as we will see in future videos. Although Mike Reid's acting is a little rough around the edges, Queenie Watts is great as Lily. Nevertheless, the series runs out of steam very quickly, with the last few episodes simply repeating the conflicts and situations established in the first couple of episodes. Arthur Mullard died on the 11th of December 1995. After his death, it was reported that a planned episode of This Is Your Life devoted to him was ditched after researchers contacted the star's eldest son Brian, who explained why he couldn't cooperate. Brian had left home years earlier after a row with his father concerning allegations of Mullard's history of domestic violence. These were confirmed by Mullard's daughter Barbara in an interview with the Sunday Mirror published on the 22nd of May 1966. Mullard's other son, Johnny, by then a successful comedian in Sydney, Australia, said he was aware of a family argument, but he appeared to deny any knowledge of the claims. The series, which gained modest ratings, has the reputation of being one of the worst ever sitcoms. Lorna Cooper, reporting for MSN Entertainment, said, "Thank goodness for EastEnders Frank Butcher. Without him, Mike Reed's TV acting legacy may have been this absolutely dire 1976 sitcom. Stepping in dog's poo is funnier." The Guardian critic Stuart Heritage said, "ITV made no end of painfully unfunny sitcoms in the 1970s, but Yus My Dear probably deserves this place more than any other. It barely even counts as a sitcom, in fact. Watching it in 2015, it feels like a sophisticated anti-comedy prank created by a team of supervillains determined to obliterate all trace of intelligence from a weirdly captive audience." Mike Lewison branded it one of the most excruciating sitcoms of all time, a real black spot on writers Wolfe and Chesney's CV. He ranked the show number 2 on his list of the 20 worst British sitcoms in the Radio Times Guide to Comedy. Ben Lawrence of the Daily Telegraph put Yus My Dear at number 6 on his list of the 10 worst British sitcoms ever made. Concerning Arthur Mullard, he commented, "Mystifyingly, he achieved considerable success as a singer and actor during the 60s and 70s, culminating in a dreadful cover version of You're the One That I Want opposite comedian Hilda Baker." Despite the detractors, there were 2 series with a total of 19 episodes, all broadcast between January to November 1976. DVDs of both series were released in 2009 and 2010. Well, that's it for this video of some of the worst rated sitcoms on television. I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, or perhaps you're glad you missed these the first time around. Remember, just because a show didn't get good ratings doesn't mean to say it wasn't funny or enjoyable for at least some people. Join me for the next video as we continue the countdown, and if you have any other sitcoms you think should be on the list, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to check out my other videos for more television related content. Thanks for watching.